G'day guys, how we going? Going by myself today. As you can see here, I was set up for a partner. I had to come home earlier today because one of my kids have got gastro. And Davo's pulled a sickie on me this Arby, so I'm doing this one by myself. All right. Probably first thing I'll do, I'll go over last week's games. And then work my way through a couple of things. I won't be talking about any of the NFL games this week. I haven't even looked at them. I wouldn't even know who's playing each other, to be honest. So, um, yeah, I have got another thing to go over anyway. So, I'll get my face out of the screen, put that fella in, and that fella there. All right. So, game of the week apparently from last week, according to MFL. Was the Packers up against the Steamrollers, Paddy up against Kenneth, and fairly low scoring affair. Oh well, lowish anyway. Certainly not anything near what Paddy put up recently. So his team definitely come back to earth a little bit on this one. And Kenneth probably grabbing a win that was definitely important. Definitely an important win for him anyway, especially with the way his offense is really struggling right now. Injuries obviously haven't helped, but I don't know if that's actually going to get any better anytime soon. Just reading a couple of things about McCaffrey. I don't think he's going to be back all that quickly. So he might be leaning on his defense more than he'd like to have been. So, but in a season where scoring does seem to be down, his defense is doing enough to keep him in games and to win games. This one was a double win for him. He picked up the bonus win, so it moved his record to 4-2 on the season. And Paddy's dropped down to 3-3. Didn't manage to pick up a win at all this week. So, yeah. Just seeing if they say anything about Pat's team. Carl Granderson's probably his most glaring miss sitting on the bench. But I mean, defensive ends are always hard to predict. So, would you have actually started him over either Hendrickson or Josh Hines Allen? I don't know. Some might have. So, next game. The undefeated New Orleans Saints exact a little bit of revenge over the Buffalo All-Americans in what was our championship game rematch from last season. This one was over pretty early, actually. There's not much to talk about, really. David's team barely fired a shot, and Spirit's team just ticking along. Nothing over 400, but still put up a pretty respectable score, just under 400, 398.26, and David's team barely broke 300. So, yeah, really not much to talk about. Spirits flying at the moment. As I said, only undefeated team at 6-0. And after this one, David's All-Americans have dropped to 3-3. Chicago Bears, Matty up against his son Jacob, Canton Bulldogs. Just another annihilation, actually. There's not much to be said here either. Matt would be the first person to say he's after a really good week one. He's struggling pretty hard right now. Back to back, I think, lowest score of the week after being the highest score of the week in week one. So, Yes, yeah. There really isn't much to say. It was never even a close game. It was, as you can see by the graph over here, that yellow line was always in front, and it never got close. Never got closer than probably 100 points by the look of that. So, congrats to Jakey, and bad luck, Matt. So I know exactly how you feel, man. My team's not travelling much better. The results. What did we get? So Jakey moves to 4-2, and Matt drops to 2-4 on the season. This was a rematch of a playoff game from last year. Jared up against myself, Dolphins against the Stapletons, and basically went the same way as it did. It never really was a close game either. Jared was in front pretty much right from the get-go. All I was kind of holding out hope for was one more big play between to Jamar Chase late in that Cincy game to try and at least pinch a bonus win for me. But yeah, it was never really ever going to happen, unfortunately. I haven't got much to say about my team. It's constant mistakes. Pretty much guarantee whichever way I decide to go, the opposite person will score the points, and the one that I pick probably doesn't. So, and it's been haunting me the last 2 weeks especially. So, as for Jared's team, put up a really good solid score, 420 points. The way this league's going at the moment, 420 points is a fucking great score. That'll win most weeks. Teams are really struggling to get to 400 points, and I don't know. The league's hard to watch at the moment. It really is. I've sat here. I've literally had the whole day to where I could have sat down and put a game on my iPad and watched it, and I couldn't even muster the energy to sit there and watch it. I really don't like the standard of football that's out there at the moment. So, anyway, congrats on the win, Jared. Well deserved, man, and get you off the bottom of the ladder for a little while. As long as your team keeps scoring the way it is, you won't be there. So. All right. Akron Pros and the Philly Eagles. Robbie up against Joey. Robbie actually had the lead in this one for a little while, but just turned into yet another annihilation. Actually, not a great week for Robbie. Most of his team didn't fire. Back at his safety scored well again, but no, the offense, parts of the offense anyway. Yeah, I don't know, man. That he scored well enough to be in a couple of games, I guess. But when your opponent puts up 480 points, you're not going to win many of them. Well, he apparently did have Juwan Jennings sitting on his bench. I mean, who would have started? No, let's be real here. Juwan Jennings. Seriously. 64 points in a game for Juwan Jennings. This is the sort of thing that's making it extremely hard to set lineups. Anyway, congrats to Joey. Well deserved, man. High scorer of the week. Double wins. Blah, blah, blah. And bad luck, Robbie. What do you go to? Robbie drops to 1-5, so same record as myself, and I think Joey might actually be on top of the division. He is, yes. So Joey, Jake, and Kenneth all tied for 4-2. there's not a big difference in points for at the moment between any of those. I mean, there's 50 points between the three of them. So that can disappear in a week. Spirit's 3 games out in front again. This is the same thing that happened last year. He got that early lead and he never really ever was in trouble of losing the lead in the division. Paddy's probably his biggest danger right now. At the moment, Paddy's a slightly higher scorer, but at the end of the day, the win column's the only one that matters, really. And I'm sure any of us would take that 6-0. As for the Clown Bowl, seems to be me and Robbie right now. Said both our teams are struggling. Matt's has definitely struggled pretty hard after the first week too. So definitely look like the worst 3 teams in the competition right now. All right. So, what am I going to touch on first? I'll go here. Here we go. All right. On this one here, I'll blow it up a little bit so you can actually possibly see it a touch. Hopefully that's at least a little more visible. So, I went through, had a look at the points that were scored up to this point last year. So, offense, defense, total points, and offense, defense, total points for this year. Like you can see here on the graph, there's 3 teams. Now, I know we're not playing with the same rosters we were last season, but we all are the same owners. We've all drafted full teams to use. There is a pretty decent discrepancy for everyone. Well, not everyone, but at the moment, 3 teams are currently scoring marginally better than they did last season. You can see on here, Joey's team's 28.75 points ahead of where it was last season at the same time. Spirit's team is 37.99 points ahead of where it was last year at the same time. And Paddy's team is 10.26 points ahead of where it was last season at this same time. The closest team in the red that is under where they scored last season is Jacob, 67.88 points. Now, if you added the 3 teams together that are over their score from last season, if you added all those points together and put it in as a negative, the only team that covers the amount of points that they are over as a negative, I know what I'm trying to say. The only team that beats that on the negative right now is the Bulldogs, Jake's team. Everyone else, if those 3 teams were aggregated together and were actually minus points, everyone else would be lower than what that total would be. So what's that work out? That's what? 70, hang on, am I right? Yeah, about 77 points, something like that. So Paddy would be the only team, it would be the next closest. He's on minus 83.44. Then we got Jared at minus 93.84. Then there's some big scores. It's like we're getting closer to the 200s than we are to the 100s under where we were last season for the rest of us. And as an aggregate overall, the league itself is 832.43 points under what last season's score was. I'm no math god or anything, but I think that works out to about, I don't know, 7 to 8% lower across the board for everyone. Um, I don't know what it is because, in my opinion, it's not just offense that's scoring low. The defenses seem to be lower scoring too. So I don't know. We'll see. Mate, it's only 3 weeks into the season. Maybe things even out a little bit going forward, but it just looks a bit ugly right now. It's definitely not fun watching. So, all right. Another thing I did while I was at it. So this little table here, I've gone through and punched in everyone's starters per week. I'm not going to sit here and read this out on here. It's impossible to go through all this. But on every team, I've punched in what they've started each week, got an average of the points that they've scored at each position, and the average points per start per player. Oh, per position, sorry. Now there is an overall table, and here it is. So I can go that high. All right. So Paddy's team is currently the highest scoring team. You can see on this table where the points are coming from, what your average is per position. Pat's 22.9 for a fucking kicker. You're kidding me. Whoever that is needs to be shot. I'm guessing it's probably Brandon Aubrey. But yeah, I can put this up on the chat for people to see. I'm not going to post the team pages. It's too hard to make any sense out of anyway. But yeah, you can see where your positions, where you'd like, where you're actually performing at a level that's at least comparable to the rest of the league, and you can see where you're below the average. So these bottom points where I've got average there, so that bottom point there is the league average for the position. And I can already see where my problem is, and I pretty much knew where my problem was leading into the before I did this. A position that should have been strong at safety has been absolutely fucking horrible, actually. Same with defensive ends. I've just made the wrong decisions. Whereas the safeties are just brutally underperforming. So, yeah. I haven't got much else to add to that one. I'll post it up on chat so that everyone can look at it, and it'll make more sense for you then. All right. This week's games are not there. They are here. Or here, actually. All right. Game of the week. I'm pretty happy to call this one the game of the week. I don't think yeah, it is. Yep. So, Spirit up against Jake. Could be a Titan Bowl preview. 6-0. Yep. 6-0 Saints up against the 4-2 Bulldogs. No idea if these guys have actually submitted teams for this week or not. But there's a big discrepancy to Jake's team on this, according to the projections anyway. So, don't know matchups. Just going over that. Look, I've said Jake's team was was up there with the strongest in the competition right from the start, and I don't believe that Spirit's all that far away either. But gun to my head, I'll tip Jake for the win. I think they both come away with a win as well. So for this week, all time they've faced each other once, which would have been week 4 last season, and it was a win for Spirit in that game. I'm not looking up the results though. Sorry guys. All right, second game. Buffalo All-Americans up against the Providence Steamrollers. Depends on what version of David's team turns up here. He's definitely a chance in the game, but I know he's got some injuries, which he's lost. I think today he just lost Foyle Lorcon as well. I get the feeling his team is teetering right on the edge right now. And for that reason, I'm going to tip Kenneth to win the game. And I don't think either team will get a bonus win. Big call. Who knows? But head to head, keep forgetting to look at this. Sorry, guys. Head to head, Kenneth holds a 2-0 record against David from week 4 and week 11 last year. So, tipping to make that 3-0. Oh, Joey up against me. Can't see anything positive for my team, to be honest. I think Joey just wins and wins pretty easily, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I've lost much hope in this league, to be honest. I'd love for the team to actually show up and do something, but I don't hold much hope of it happening. I think Joey will take a lead pretty early and never relinquish it. It'd take a performance that this team hasn't shown they can do yet. So I think Joey gets the double wins and probably Nutter for me. Dolphins and Eagles. Oh, hang on. I probably should have. I nearly forgot that again. All time. Pretty sure I'm 0-2 actually against Joey. Yeah, I know him. Yep. I shouldn't have even bothered looking it up. I was pretty certain that was the case. So yeah, about to be 0-3. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Jared and Robbie. It's tipped to be a pretty close game, actually. And I think it will be. Robbie's been a bit unlucky. He didn't have a great week last week, but his not great week is about my best week. So, I see he's got Juwan Jennings in there this week, mate. I hope for your sake he at least puts up a 20 to 30 spot anyway. Hurts when you miss those 60-point games. I'll tip Jared to win a close game, but I'm actually going to tip them both to come away with a win. Yeah, all time. Who's got that one? So all time. Against the Dolphins, we're a 1-1 record. So week 4 last year was a win for Robbie, and week 10 was a win for Jared. last game. It's going to be a relatively short podcast today compared to some of the ones we've done recently. Bears and Packers. From a personal standpoint, I'd love to see the Packers get trounced every week. Not necessarily you, Pat, but anyone that's got that Packer colour on, I would love to see him get smashed. Yeah, I don't know, man. Matt's team is struggling hard, and I don't know if it's going to bounce back. It played great the first week, but yeah, it's been. I'm fairly certain in saying it was the lowest score of the last 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure. I haven't completely fact checked that, but I know he was definitely in the bottom couple both weeks. He was the bottom one last week. Fairly certain he was the bottom one the week before too. And look, the way Pat's team's going, he had an off week last week, but even his off week last week was enough to beat what Matt did. So, there seems to be a bigger gap between teams than I expected in this league this year. Yeah, look, I can't not tip Pat's team here. It's got the ability to score 500 points, and Matty's team just has not shown that yet. I think he got about 449 or something week one. I think he needs to score his best score. And sorry guys, I was getting a phone call. So yeah, I think if Matt could somehow put up that 450 he got in week one, then this game's interesting. If he puts up the 300 that he's put up the last 2 weeks, then the game's over probably halfway through Sunday or Monday here. So yeah, for that reason, Pat to win 2 games. Matty, I can't even give you the bonus win at the moment. Like my team, it's got to show some consistency first. So I think, who do I give wins to? So I've given the 2 wins there. I didn't give it a bonus point win there. Got 2 wins there. There's 3 of the wins used up. 4-5. Ooh. Don't know. No, I don't know. I'm not going to play around with bonus wins. It's hard enough trying to tip a team to win. So anyway, yeah, short podcast today. I can't come up with too much myself anyway. I will pop that spreadsheet up on the chat for you to have a look at. Yeah, all I say, good luck, guys. Hope your teams do well. And talk to you in the chat. Thanks for watching. See you guys.